So any other thoughts about anything else we need to do at this point? Or does, anybody got any bright ideas that they want to put forward for the agenda? If there's anything else we need to include or anything else we need to say, or if you think of something after this, like just shoot me a message, if you think of something that needs to be included. But
I think it was a really good meeting, and you gave me some good ideas. So
good. That's why I said this belongs to all of us, not just one person. It's an important thing, and if we can just keep the momentum going, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. We just keep the momentum going and don't lose the momentum. And so hopefully as things get better, not better, as hopefully as things progress, we'll see more and more opportunity to do things that will keep us in the forefront. Because that's the thing, it's like we don't want it to fade away. We want to keep the momentum. And that's one thing that we've been blessed with in Greece. It seems like every couple of months somebody contacts us from the media wanting to know something. And that's kept it where we just didn't disappear. Because the public is fickle. Like once you're off the front page, people forget about you. It's just, in publicity, it's like I used to be in the music business, so I know the value of good publicity in good press, and that's an important thing. So you have to use the press when you have the opportunity, and that's key in something like this, because the more you get it in front of the public, the more they get stirred up about it, but they're going to forget about it if it doesn't stay in the forefront. So we need to use the press as a tool, and publicity is valuable. It's extremely valuable. That's really and truly. I told you guys earlier, I had never intended to start the Eftychia project. It was never on my agenda, and it all started out as me thinking, well, I'm in Greece all the time, because I started going like every other month. And I thought, well, maybe if somebody needs me to pick up something for them, I can, or maybe I can, go somewhere and get some papers for somebody. That's how it kind of started. And then all of a sudden, my story got all this publicity through no fault of my own. It was my daughter's fault completely. She talked to a reporter here in Tennessee, and that she met at some dinner, because she was in the music business. She was doing PR for country music stars at the time. And she was at some like entertainment dinner, and she was sitting next to this guy, and she goes, "Oh, Brad, what do you do?" And he said, "Oh, I write for the Tennessean." And she said, "Well, what do you write?" And he said, "Oh, I write feel good inspirational stories." And then she said, "Oh, have I got a story for you?" And then she came home and said, "I probably jumped the gun, and I should have asked you, Mom, but I told this reporter all about your story. Now he wants to interview you." And I'm like, well, okay, maybe that will help some of the rest of us. Like if this story gets publicized and gets anywhere, maybe it gets any traction, maybe it'll help everybody. And we can, so when they came, I talked a lot about all the irregular adoptions, and that it wasn't, I was only one of over, close to 4,000 kids this happened to. And when the story came out, I was extremely disappointed, because he talked very little about that and just talked about my story. But then and I told my best friend, and she said, "You know what, though, it might give you an opportunity to do something else. Maybe it's a springboard to something else. Don't be disappointed in the story." So then it went all over the country here. And then my relatives were calling me in Greece going, "Hey, Eftychia, your story went viral in Greece." I'm like, "What are you talking about? How did they get the story?" Somebody had translated it to Greek, I don't know who, and it got on all those little websites over there. And then it just snowballed after that. And that's when I decided, knowing the value of good publicity, I told my husband, I said, if we don't start something formal that will help everybody now, what if this publicity never comes again? What if we never get this kind of PR again? And he said, well, I guess you got to do it then. And so that's why we started it as a nonprofit. So there'd be no question about what we did, and that we weren't making money off of it, because too many of us have been scammed. And that's how that all started. It was just, and then from there, it's continued to just grow and snowball. I mean, I was looking today and thought, oh my gosh, we have over 4,000 followers on Facebook. I think that's pretty good for 2 years. So, So it's just one of those things. But it was, like I said, it's nothing I ever intended to do. I was I was just going to go enjoy Greece and my family and have a vacation every now and then. And I don't have a vacation much of it anymore, but it, it's something I've really loved doing, and working with all, and I would have never met all of you guys without that. I mean, that's the best part of all of this, is all the people I've met, all the adoptees, all the Greek families, all the Greek people I've met in Greece and here, and all of that. That's, like I said, that's why I say I think I get more out of it than they do. But it's one of those things that if we just stick together and we work together and make a big noise, I think we'll get somewhere.
Can I ask you a question?
Huh?
A question.
Yeah.
It's a little bit off the topic, but so you have a place over there in Greece. What are the advantages and disadvantages of doing that?
Well,
for someone like me.
Well, for me, the advantage is because I go so often, it's way cheaper to have an apartment right now because we're going to buy something, but it's way cheaper for me because my apartment, and to tell you the truth, the cost of living in Greece, like, you could live on your Social Security fairly comfortably there. Seriously. You can't do that here, obviously. So I told my husband, I said, between our Social Security and his retirement from the fire department, we'd be like the richest people in Nafaktos. And that's no real exaggeration. Because, for example, my apartment over there is $300 a month. It's 250 euros, which is about $300 a month. That's $3,600 a year. I couldn't stay in a nice hotel for that in a month. I mean, if you me, a nice hotel, 100 euros a night is what I'm saying. So that's, $3,100 for a month to stay in a nice hotel. $3,600 a year, I can stay in an apartment that belongs to me, or that I'm renting, and I have my own furniture, my own clothes, and I can leave stuff there and go back and forth. For somebody like you, if you're not going, obviously you probably won't go as often as me, but when you're not there, you can always rent it out as an Airbnb or something. People do that all the time. I don't rent mine out because I'm there every other month. And then I don't want to have to lock all my stuff up when I'm gone either. So if I rent it out to somebody.
How are you taxed? How do you handle?
Well, I don't make any money in Greece, so I'm not taxed at all. Okay. And supposedly, this is what I've heard, is like, if you don't spend more than 6 months there, you don't have to pay Greek income taxes. And if you make nothing there, how are they can't double tax you for what you make in America because they have an agreement with America.
Okay.
So, if you're not making anything there, they can't. Now, if you decide you want a little business on the side or something, then they will tax you. Okay. You have to pay taxes. Is that right, Tula? Tula is saying thumbs up here, so I must be right on that because that's what my lawyer said.
So I can go there.
Yourself, Tula. You're muted. You're muted. Keep talking about that.
Can't hear.
Tula, and there you go. Now talk.
Okay. If you don't make any money in the country, you don't get any tax. If your wages are in another country, like the States, they're already taxed. So there's no tax any which way. So if you can stay for 6 months, there is no tax in Greece.
Thanks.
And the only thing that they do now is like, you have to declare, what is it, once a year, your property. You have to declare your property, and you have to pay. I do have a car. So cars are taxed based on the sizes of their engines. That's right, Tula? They're based on the sizes of their engines. The smaller engines, you don't pay as much tax. The big engines, you pay a lot. Like if you wanted a car with a big engine, you're gonna pay at least 1,000 euros a year tax because, of course, they don't want you to drive an SUV over there. So I think the taxes for my car, I have what they call a Chevrolet Aveo, which is an automatic because I can't drive a stick, and I had to have my cousin find me one. But it's like a Chevy Cruze, kind of that same size, and it's only made for foreign countries. But I think the taxes on it is like, I want to say it's like 297 or something, 297 euro a year, which is way cheaper than 1,000. So it's okay for now. I mean, it's a decent car, and so that's. So it's not a economy tiny car, and it's not a great big car. It's kind of in the middle. It's kind of like I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like a Chevy Cruze. It's 4 doors. The trunk is decent size, so it's like you can put 3 suitcases in there and some backpacks and stuff. So it's not bad.
Do you have an international license or a Greek driver's
I
license?
take the international driver's license with me. I always get that because I'm not giving up my American license to get a Greek license. And you got to drive a stick to get your Greek license. And I'm not doing that either. And then the other thing is like some people will take their own car over there with American plates. When you get there, you got to take off the American plates and they keep them and give you Greek plates to put on your car. And then when you go back, you give them, you give them those plates back and then they keep them to you. It's kind of complicated. It's like, you have to give them the American plates and they hold on to them and all that. And it's just crazy. So there's a lot of things over there that don't make sense to me like that, but that's what they do. And a lot of times you got to be able to prove you can afford what you're doing. Like they have this, I forget what they call it. Tula probably knows. It's the tax, like you have to prove you have the money to pay for certain things, like, and they want to tax you according to what you have. So like if you only have one house and you only have one car, they don't charge you that tax. But if you have more than that, they do. And you got to prove you got the money for it. Where'd you get the money from and that sort of thing. So the only thing that's probably a little bit difficult over there, David, is like getting a Greek bank account. Right now, I don't have one. I mean, I could, but the problem is like you gotta fill out this paper and get a thing from the IRS so they can say, they got to tell the IRS if you have more than 10,000 euros in your bank account, all this stuff. And I'm like, so I just basically use that TransferWise account. And I will tell you that the only credit card I don't have trouble with over there as far as like using it online is my Capital One, because they send me a text if I try to do something online. And then if I put the code in, it goes right through. But a lot of these cards, even though when you tell them you're coming to Greece and you're going to be there for say 2 months and you give them the dates, it's fine if you're using the card in person anywhere, works fine. But if you try to buy something online, then they think it's fraud and they know you're there. Like they think you're never going to buy anything online while you're there for 2 months. And then they'll either deny it and then you keep using all these cards.
Most other cards charge a surcharge for over there. Capital One does not. That's the only card I use when I go to Greece. They charge no surcharge.
Yeah, they don't charge you all those international fees.
All the other ones, my city, on my other cards, all charge international charges.
Yeah, my Capital One has been the one, like they don't ever call you. They send you, like when I go on, I went, for example, I bought ferry tickets to go to Crete. So I'm typing it in on there. I put in my Capital One card. It pops up and it says, click on here to have Capital One send you a code. So I clicked on there, sent me a code. I put it in, bingo, ferry tickets. All the other credit cards, like they denied it. You check with your bank, blah, blah, blah. I have trouble with everybody else, but Capital One works great over there. The other thing I will tell you is don't change your money in New York or whatever when you come. You can go to the bank, to the ATM and get money with your debit card. And don't choose conversion, choose euros, because when they do conversion, they charge you an extra 8 to 12% for converting your money. So and I didn't know that the very first time I went, but I learned it real fast because they charge you a lot. So if you go to a regular bank ATM and you put your card in, you choose what you want, because you can choose English because I got enough people that come over there to speak English. It says on the thing. So when you do that, when they give you, like, say, I want 400 euros, and then it tells you, oh, here's conversion to dollars. Or you got the choice, don't convert. Choose euros, not dollars, because they will charge you that upcharge of like 8 to 12% to change your money to convert it. So you don't want to do it. So never choose dollars.
And I seem to have heard they're trying to, there are incentives for people to retire in Greece. I don't know.
I'm not sure about incentives. I know they have the golden visa, but I'm not sure about incentives. Is that what you mean? The golden visa, that you have to buy so much property?
Just something where they are trying to attract people.
None of those have gone through. They've talked about a lot of them. There's a lot of them on the books. I'm going through that now. So I'm in touch with an attorney over there. Again, just what I have found out. Right now, there's nothing. Now, there is literally nothing. But there are a bunch on the books, and they've been on the books for years. As far as paying no VAT to get your first house, and there were other things like that, but nothing has been enacted by law yet.
Yeah, and then that's the thing, like with citizenship, you don't pay near the taxes. If you have citizenship and you buy property, you don't pay near the taxes that people do that don't have citizenship. And the only other option they have right now is that golden visa, the thing that they've got going. if you buy, and you got to buy 250,000 euro worth of property, and then you get a guarantee.
It's not a total of everything, by the way. It's only certain aspects of it, like the property only, not the house, depending on where it is. And sometimes it's
there's all kinds of things attached to it. So sometimes you got to buy more than one piece of property to get that 250,000, and then they give you a permanent a residency, like you're guaranteed permanent residence for, like, what is it, 10 years, Steve, or something like that?
Yeah, it is just that. It is residency. Residency could lead to citizenship if you live there X amount of time, and then go through, the other prerequisite, which is language. And language at that point, if you're not, through Greek descent, is like B1 level language. So it's very high level.
Ain't easy.
Very high level.
Yeah, B1, and there's B1, B2, and then there's C. So there's A1, A2, B1, B2, and then there's C. C's like really smart people that know everything about it. But like I'm almost done with A2. So I feel, at least technically, I'm not sure about my speaking. My reading and writing, yes, I'm definitely A2, but it's not simple. But yeah, there's a lot of perks to the citizenship thing, because then you're not taxed with all this stuff. Like, you're not taxed to death on your first house and on your one car. But if you got more than one house and more than one car, then you get taxed more. And they've been trying to do away with that tax based on, how much your car is worth and all this other stuff, and how much house you have and all that. But it's just kind of, they've been bouncing around for how many years about getting rid of. I can't think of the name of that tax for what you have. There's a certain, they call it, to prove that you can afford it or whatever, tax. But they've been saying they're going to get rid of it, and they haven't done it yet. It's like still there.
That's why you have to be careful what you ship into the country, because they will hold it up at customs and then put an amount on it, and you end up paying taxes if they hold it up.
And that's why.
Techmedio.
Huh?
Techmedio, it's called here.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. I knew it had a name, but I couldn't think of the name of what it was. And it's taxed based on what you can afford or something.
What your wages are. Like I have that because I have a Jeep. It's like a Jeep Renegade. It's a big car. And I make so much. So they think that I'm getting some money from elsewhere, which I'm not. And I get a huge tax on that every year. Like, you pay $200 for your car, I pay $690.
Yeah, I knew on some things they charge that stuff on some things. So yeah, it's kind of their tax situation. I was kind of convoluted, and it's difficult to understand. That's why, and buying a house is really weird. Like, they don't have title companies over there, guys. You know how a title company just takes care of everything, then you go and sign all the papers? It's not like that. It's like multiple contracts, like a contract for the deposit, a contract for the final when you give the down payment. A lawyer has to go to the tax office and check the land and check the house and all this stuff. Then they got to send out the guy to do the GPS survey of the land, and the civil engineer to look at the house, and all this other mess. Because believe it or not, there's a lot of illegal houses in Greece that if you just give somebody the right number of money, they'll say your house is legal. And you can only have a certain size house on a certain size piece of land and all this other stuff. So, it's kind of, Greece is great. Their bureaucracy leaves a whole lot to be desired. But, if you can learn to live with it, which I've had to do, because like I said, I want to do things now and get it done. And I'm used to America with almost instant gratification. We think our government
used to be worse.
Huh?
It used to be worse.
Oh, I'm sure it did. I'm so glad.
I heard somebody hasn't been here since 1982. Okay, back then it was impossible to do anything. So it has been really, really better than that then.
That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I send packages, let's say for the holidays, gifts, I'm really concerned. I hear that, when you pick those up, there's some type of fee, and I don't know how high it is.
It can be pretty high.
So I'm almost afraid to send them. It's like,
Don't send them new. Make everything look like it's used. Open all the
don't put any
packages.
tags on anything.
Open all
Like,
the packages. Take all the tags off.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah.
they want to know the value of everything, and I'm worried that the people receiving it are going to have
It's
to
all used. It's all my used stuff I'm giving to my relative.
yeah. Yeah. When I tell you, here's an example, David. When I always go sometime right before Christmas. Okay. I'm usually there before Christmas. Because I will be this year. I'll be there. I'm leaving October the 12th on this next trip, and I'll be there until November the 18th. So that's why I can come home, be home for Thanksgiving, Christmas. A lot of times I'm there till right before Christmas. I take Christmas presents for my relatives. I take all the tags off of them and all the clothes and just mix them in with my stuff. Anything else, I mix it with my stuff. I don't have it in the boxes it came in. I take Christmas bags with me, like in tissue paper, because believe it or not, they don't even have tissue paper over there and they put in their bags. It's bizarre. So I put all that somewhere else. You just, stick it in my bag, and I just mix everything up together and pretend like it's all old stuff and there's no tags on anything. Because if they happen to decide they want to look at your luggage on the way out of the airport, you got new tags on all this stuff, they think they're going to accuse you of trying to sell it in Greece, and they're going to charge you customs fees on everything.
Okay.
And I learned never. And so when I go, anything I want to take to family, after my very first trip to Greece, I sent a box of stuff, and it was just little dumb stuff. It was some t-shirts, some magnets, some mugs, and stuff. I'd gone to the Smoky Mountains. I want to send my family something. So I'm sending them all this stuff in the box. The whole thing together cost, the value was like $60. So I wrote that on the box, and did all the custom stuff, paid the customs fees from here. When they got the box, they were told to come get it at the post office. They had to pay the 24% value added tax and a delivery fee on top of it. So they paid almost as much as what the stupid contents of the box were.
That's
Yeah. So then they told me, they said, Eftychia, it's wonderful that you sent us stuff, but if you want to send us something, just bring it with you whenever you come, even if it's late for our birthday or Christmas or whatever, just bring it with you. Because it was just, and I've learned to do that. I don't ever send anything anymore because of that. Tula, is that pretty much right? I mean, that's pretty much accurate with everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I don't ever send stuff. I never I had a whole bunch of my nieces, they're my cousin's kids, that 3 of them all had a baby about the same time. I didn't even send anything for the baptism. I just took stuff afterwards. I was like, here's your present for baptism. But and they all appreciated that, because all that stuff I stuck in my luggage and took all the tags off and everything else so people wouldn't do anything. Or I put it in my carry-on, because they really don't see the stuff in your carry-on.
Good.
So
Thanks.
I had a cousin. I have my cousin, which her aunt died, and she had new clothes. The aunt had bought a whole lot of clothes, and she's got the same body like my mother. And she says, "Oh, I'll send it to you." I said, "No, don't send me anything. I don't want anything." So that was done. Yeah, we have a thing with customs here, for sure.
yeah. So yeah. So hey guys, we've gone about a half hour over, which is fine. I don't mind talking with all you guys, and if you've got questions about anything, yeah, we can. I mean, this is part of the fun of this. It's like people can ask questions, we can talk, and people can share their knowledge. I mean, that's part of what all this is about, really. Sharing knowledge and sharing camaraderie and working together and stuff like that. So has anybody else got any crazy questions about Greece that those of us that are familiar with it can answer? Okay. Well, thanks to everybody for participating today. And I'm hoping that we will get, a lot done on this next trip. We have a lot better chance to get stuff done since all the fire season is over. The arsonists have all gone back home, evidently. So 95% of those fires were all set.
Well, don't be sure about that.
Oh, I know. I heard from the fire department how many.
We had 96 degrees today.
Yeah, most fires don't combust spontaneously. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's very hot still. It's
Yeah.
not fall
Well, it's still
yet
really
here.
dry too, isn't it? Like,
And
I
we
mean,
haven't gotten any rain
yeah.
since March, and
Tell everybody to be careful.
96 degrees, and we're close to the end of September, is very hot.
That's true. It's pretty warm. Yeah, but they did catch quite a few arsonists during this whole last thing. Most of the stuff on Evia was arson. And that was sad. They had a horrible time. So anyway, you guys write those letters, try to do some of that stuff. Steve left his information here. If any of y'all can see the chat, you should be able to, if you click on the chat, Steve's info's in there. You know, because getting your story out and then telling about what we're trying to do with all that just garners support for all of us. And that's what's important. You know, we all need to work together on this. We don't need one group here, one group there. We all just need to try to band together and work on this to get this done. So anyway, thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out with us. And yeah, you know, we'll have our Greek coffee hour on November the 13th. Hope most of you will attend and tell us your story. Like I said, there's a whole lot of stories out there I haven't heard, and I'm sure I think it gives us it makes all of us feel supported and loved when we can talk about it with people that have the same things in common. So have a great rest of your day. Have a great Sunday. And if you need something or you got questions about anything, you know where to find me on Facebook, or you can email us or whatever. So feel free to contact me anytime. Anything you need. If you just want to talk.
Right.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming, guys. And
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone from Greece.
Kalinikta.
Kalinikta.
Yeah.